Hey guys, Gus Rickard here, Wise Moves, doing another Facebook Live, this time on breathing and the link to your breath and a healthy spine. I've got a few things I want to talk about today. One is just what is optimal breathing and what is suboptimal breathing, or what is faulty breathing, and I'll take you through a little practical exercise at the end. First of all, what is optimal breathing and what's faulty breathing? So faulty breathing is usually a short, shallow chest breath. It's usually associated with the stress response, and it's the same as chronic hyperventilation. So we all know about hyperventilation in the acute sense that we see on movies where people have to breathe into a paper bag to get more carbon dioxide in, whereas with chronic hyperventilation, we're just breathing too much oxygen all the time and constantly in need of more carbon dioxide. And this has far-reaching kind of implications for your health. Hey Annie, how are you? Hey Casey, thanks for joining, guys. So just talking about hyperventilation. Basically, we kind of have this thought process going on that oxygen is good and carbon dioxide is bad, and that oxygen is kind of something we need and carbon dioxide is a waste product, when that's not actually the truth. Carbon dioxide is just as important as oxygen for the body, and we need a balance of both. They create and balance the pH in our blood. And when you have too much oxygen, you tend to become alkaline, you have too high a pH. When you have too much carbon dioxide, you become acidic, which is what happens when you're running or if you're holding your breath. When you feel that, if you hold your breath or you go underwater for too long, you feel the acid build up in your blood. When you feel like you're drowning, that's the acid of carbon dioxide building up in your blood. They do, yeah. Casey's saying trees love carbon dioxide. Totally. So we're kind of in cahoots with trees. We breathe in what they breathe out, and they breathe out what we breathe in. It's interesting that atmospheric levels of gases, I think it's at like 0.04% of our atmosphere is carbon dioxide, and about 21% is oxygen, when that's very different from the ratio that our body needs. Our body needs about 5% carbon dioxide and 14% oxygen, and that's the ratio of those things that are found in our lungs. When we breathe too much, when we're in a constant stress response, or if we just have poor breathing habits and we're not breathing diaphragmatically, we're breathing short, shallow breaths all the time, we'll tend to breathe too much oxygen, and the body will actually draw carbon dioxide from the blood. So it wants to keep that 5% oxygen in your lungs. So it draws carbon dioxide from the blood, which means there's too much oxygen in your blood. So when we breathe too much oxygen, your body wants to create that balance in your lungs. It draws carbon dioxide from your blood, and then you end up with what's called the Bohr Effect. So the Bohr Effect is where oxygen will actually bind too strongly to hemoglobin, and you end up with respiratory alkalosis, which is where your blood becomes too much alkaline, and that can have all sorts of implications, because then in order to create balance, your body will then start to draw calcium and phosphorus from other areas, and it's not very desirable, put it that way. So that's hyperventilation. That's what we want to avoid. Optimal breathing, well, actually, there are other implications of poor breathing. That's the kind of biochemical aspect. There's also the neuroendocrine aspect. So I mentioned in my last Facebook Live about the stress response, and when we're stressed, that it affects our breathing. So I mentioned last time, and I'll say it again, that when we're stressed, the stress response is to get us out of danger now at all costs, and it was only ever designed to work in very short bursts. Part of the problem, part of the reason we have so many health issues nowadays, we have so many chronic pains and illnesses, is because 99% of people are in a chronic stress state all the time, and the fight or flight branch of our nervous system, which should be, you know, only used in short bursts, is always working, and it's catabolic. It breaks down tissue. It breaks down tissue, and it does a whole lot of other stuff, which I mentioned the last time in the last Facebook Live, so you can tune in and watch that. I won't go into too much more depth now, but that sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight nervous system, is tied into a short, shallow breath, because when we need to escape from danger, we need to get air in now. We need more oxygen to use to escape, right, or to fight. So on the opposite pole, we have the parasympathetic system, which is like your rest and digest system, which is when we're relaxed, usually we'll have short, slow, shallow breaths into the belly. And the parasympathetic system is anabolic. It helps us heal. So we really want to get into a parasympathetic state as much as possible. Everybody should be doing some kind of exercise, breathing exercise or Tai Chi or something, in order to get you into a parasympathetic state, because life is just constantly pushing us into a sympathetic state, which creates all the imbalances I spoke about last time with the stress response and everything that happens with the breath. So there's also the mechanical aspect of poor breathing. Breathing diaphragmatically, which is where when you breathe in, your tummy expands, so the diaphragm contracts, and as it contracts, it draws down and it pushes the viscera, your organs, out into your belly, and it draws air into your lungs. That movement has a pumping effect on the organs, so it helps with digestion, it helps get waste products out and nutrients in, specifically or especially into the joints. You know, the lumbar discs, or all your discs and all joints for that matter, don't have blood supply. They only get nutrition in and waste products out through movement. So if you're breathing with your chest, if you're not breathing diaphragmatically, you're going to miss out on the changes in interdiscal pressure that happen with a proper belly breath. You'll miss out on this movement of your ribs with proper breathing. So proper diaphragmatic breathing happens with anterior expansion or forward-backward movement of your belly here, and lateral expansion of your ribs. And that helps to mobilize your thoracic spine. Your thoracic spine is your rib cage and that part of your spine attached to it. If you're not getting that mobilization all the time, because you think about it, you're breathing thousands of times every day, you're having tiny little mobilizations, it helps free up your ribs. If that doesn't happen, your rib cage get locked down, especially nowadays when everyone's sitting at a computer screen with slouched posture, you know, which only adds to poor breathing mechanics, by the way. When your rib cage is locked, the lack of movement has to be made up for somewhere else. So people with stiff, locked up rib cages tend to be hypermobile through the cervical spine and the lumbar spine. So because the rib cage can't move, those other areas have to move too much, and you end up with imbalances and whatnot. So pumping of viscera, there's also pumping of cerebrospinal fluid. When you breathe, there should be this nice oscillation, this nice wave-like movement all the way up and down your spine, and it moves cerebrospinal fluid, which will get stagnant and will cause inflammation if not done. You know, there are all sorts of structures that can cause pain in your low back. It's not just the muscles and joints and tendons and stuff. There's the dura of the spine. It's like the sheath that covers the spine that can get stiff and inflamed if that's not moving properly, because there's not the breath there moving it. That can become inflamed and cause pain. There's the sheath of all your nerves. Just about any structure in your body can be inflamed and cause pain. And a lot of these structures depend on breathing in order to get waste products out and nutrition in. So I'm going to show you guys a little practical exercise now. I'm going to have to move my computer down there, and I've tried to kind of line it up properly. If Jordan, if you're still there, let me know if you can't hear me or someone. I'm going to just stick the computer down here because I want to lie down for this. So I'm doing this on a foam roller, but if you don't have a foam roller, just lie down on your back. Can you hear me there, Jordan? Okay, I'm going to assume you guys can hear me. Thanks, dude. Okay, I will actually. So basically what we want to do here is breathe diaphragmatically. So as you breathe in, your tummy will rise. As you breathe out, it will fall. We want to see expansion of the tummy here and expansion of the ribs here. If you imagine your breath moving in 3 parts, the first third happens here into your lower abdomen. The second third happens here into your ribs, and the final third happens here in your chest. And it should just be this anterior expansion, not shoulder movement. You don't want to use these muscles here around your neck at all. They should stay relaxed. So what you want to do with this breath, breathe into your belly. You can close your eyes for this exercise because you want to relax. Breathe into your belly, let it expand. Breathe out of your belly, always breathing through your nose. You can have a big effect on your nervous system through the rate of breath. So if you slow down the exhalation, so breathe out, say you're breathing in for 4 seconds, breathe out for 8 seconds, the exhalation is coupled with the parasympathetic nervous system, so that's going to help you to activate the parasympathetic system more if you lengthen it. When you get to the bottom of the breath or the top of the breath, where there's a pause, just wait. Wait for your body to signal you that it needs to breathe in or it needs to breathe out. You can do pauses. You can purposely pause and hold your breath for a little bit. You know, you don't want to create tension. You just want to hold till there's a mild air hunger. Remember that if we assume that most people are hyperventilating, that a little bit of air hunger is a good thing. And when you practice breathing, if you do this exercise for 10 minutes a day, you want to get used to having a mild air hunger. That you know, get comfortable with it. Not so much so that you are feeling stressed or feeling like you need to have a huge breath in, but just enough that you're getting used to that acidic feeling, the air hunger. So get used to that. Slow your breath down. Close your eyes. Through your nose into your belly is going to activate parasympathetic system. Tummy expanding, ribs expanding. Slowing down the exhalation. Getting used to a little bit of air hunger. Waiting for your body to signal that it needs to breathe out again. Or it needs to breathe in again. Yeah, you can do this standing, you can do it seated, you can do it anywhere really, but it's a good idea to do it lying down to give yourself time to do it. You should feel really relaxed. Like, if you're doing this properly, you will feel relaxed and sleepy and like you've done a meditation. You know, your body will shift to a parasympathetic state, which is that healing state. So you really want to make sure you're relaxed. I did it on a foam roller. You know, I did it briefly there on a foam roller. Foam roller just has an added benefit of allowing it gently mobilizes your thoracic spine. And if your thoracic spine is involved in restricting your breath, then lying on a foam roller is going to help with that mechanical aspect of that as well. But the most important thing here is to, first of all, bring presence to your breath, focus on moving your belly and your ribs and slowing it down, getting used to that air hunger so that you have less oxygen, more carbon dioxide. Your body doesn't have to draw carbon dioxide from your blood. I think that's all for me. Are there any questions? Does anyone want to type any questions? Jordan? Tina? Hey, Tina. Hey, Yumi. Hey, Sam. So I've just kind of finished up, but if anyone has any questions, shoot them on now and I'll answer them while we're here. Otherwise, I'll see you guys all soon. Thanks for joining me.